Understanding the Sector's Challenges, SLIS 701, presentation by Daniel Domeyer. According to Tanya Potter and Kara Johnson and two libraries working toward common goals, students look to their school library to find new books, seek information, creatively solve problems, and use technology. Keeping this in mind, we will be looking at 3 challenges within school libraries. These 3 challenges are literacy and learning, equity of access, and service. Literacy and learning. For this point, we will be looking at the school library as a tool for teachers and students. Oftentimes, the school library becomes a tool around the annual research project teachers assign during the middle or the end of the year. However, the role of the library in a student's learning is greater when it's used to its fullest potential. The National School Library Standards for Learners, School Librarians, and School Libraries reminds us that inquiry happens beyond the research project. Inquiry happens every time a student uses information to answer a question, complete an assignment, or solve a problem. Librarians are faced with the technology boom influencing the student mentality of information problem solving. They ask, why do we have to learn this? I already know how to do a Google search. According to Mariano and Eisenberg, proficiency in the inquiry process is essential for students as they become independent, lifelong learners. We also see that reading is more than just knowing the words on the paper. It is having an understanding of what a text is saying and being able to apply it. Librarians need to use a child's interest in finding them a book to cultivate their interest in reading for research and for pleasure. Equity of access. Equity of access is providing quality of services to all users all the time. According to School Library Scheduling, Problems and Solutions by Barbara Hutchinson, we have insight in a librarian's effort to turn around her school library. She states, there was little effort either by myself or the teachers to integrate library skills or literature units into classroom instruction. This was due to the high volume of classes that had to have a designated library time as well as limited library staff. Many teachers are unaware of the services that the library has to offer both the students and to them. This is not uncommon among school libraries. When teachers did want to partner with the librarian for a lesson, the extra time needed for the lessons cut into the time for other library duties. Barbara Hutchinson states, even if other staff members had been interested in initiating similar activities, it would have not been possible for me to accommodate all of them within the weekly library schedule. The school library's strongest attribute is the relationship and working with the school community. The school library is more than a 30-minute story time and book selection. However, it can easily become just that with lack of time and insufficient staffing, thereby not providing the quality of services to all users all the time. This can be seen specifically in low-income schools. In the paved paradise, school librarians and school libraries are disappearing and we won't know what we've lost until it's gone by Kelly Alfred. We see that there are many schools that chose to operate school libraries without help at all due to an economic downturn and a growing sense that digital technologies would render school books, library reference systems, and librarians obsolete. This results in many students, teachers, and administrators having absolutely no idea what it would be like working with a school librarian and not receiving any of the services they offer. Service. In many cases of school libraries, the librarians are given materials and curriculums. In School Library Scheduling, Problem and Solutions, Barbara Hutchinson was at the end of her first year when the district purchased a new online circulation system. Although this system provided more accurate records, they changed the amount of checkout time needed for the circulation materials. Having 23 classes a day made time efficiency a main priority in this library. The system offered a new online service that became a disservice for the students. Technology is constantly advancing, and school libraries struggle to keep up with it due to lack of funding. We are in an age where students come knowing about technology and how to use it, and librarians are supposed to offer a service to try and deepen that understanding. That is not possible using outdated or limited technology. In Inside High-Tech School Library Media Centers, Problems and Possibilities by Marilyn L. Miller and Marilyn Schnotz, a librarian had this to say as a response to the technology provided to her. Our libraries have been cut to nothing. The only way we purchased automation equipment and software was to apply for a matching grant from the state of Illinois and funds from our booster club. We also pulled our Chapter 2 monies to pay for the rest. The purchase of books and audiovisual items has been non-existent for the last 2 years. The Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, a piece of legislation that allows federal dollars to be directed to school libraries, was passed in 2015. However, historical downtrends in school budgets have left school libraries deficient in staffing and resources, according to Potter and Johnson, and 2 librarians working toward common goals. After having looked at this sector's challenges, the main skills and attributes needed in a librarian is to be an advocate. School librarians need to speak up for the needs of their library to be able to provide equity of access, services, and learning and literacy. They need to be bold and forward. Short-term service is listening to the current needs of the students and expressing those needs, as well as getting creative with the resources available. Long-term is pushing for the necessities and validating those needs. Short-term equity of access is meeting the needs of all students, even if that means developing a new schedule. Long-term is building the relationship with both students and teachers by making oneself available as a core resource that can meet those needs. Short-term literacy and learning would be getting to know the students to help cultivate their interest in the library. Long-term would be making the library a central resource to both students and teachers, not a second thought. Librarians need to be self-sufficient and self-reliable because they are usually wearing many hats while being understaffed. Although librarians face many difficulties, with this way of thinking, they will be able to overcome anything thrown at them.